Hello and welcome back. I'm Lincoln, and today is the 27th day of October, which means our prompt for the day was spider, and this is what I came up with, just kind of a black widow hybrid. This one's really fun to make, and we're going to show you how to do the legs really quick and easy. Alright, I'm going to put up the rest of the prompt list now. We're nearly through with this last full week of the sculpting challenge so we can make our scene. Hey, I hope everybody's been having as much fun with the sculpting challenge as I have. Alright, let's grab your iPad or other device. Let's go make a spider. Alright, for this one, I think we'll just use the default sphere and use the gizmo. We'll squeeze this down and we'll just start forming the main portion of the body. Now this one, a little bit bigger in the back. I think I'm just going to trim this off with a lasso. Click on the top, lasso, use symmetry, and just kind of trim that off a little. So I kind of get what I'm looking for. Alright, that's pretty good, I think. So, and if you look at this, you're going to see our wire's a mess on the sides, and I want to smooth this up some. So let's go ahead and remesh it, and probably 300 is good enough for now. So we can just kind of smooth the sides off. So I'll grab the flatten brush, the size down, and smooth this off, and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, I'm going to use the crease tool a little bit and just kind of put some creases. I want to use symmetry, keep symmetry going right now. And I'm going to check just to make sure, because sometimes this gets moved. We're just going to pop, and it was a little off origin. That way, every time we're using everything with the trim, that you're centered. Alright. Or with the crease brush rather. Crease this a little bit. So I'm doing, you know, the black widow body, and they have kind of these creases on in the body a little bit. It doesn't have to be terribly accurate. I don't think anybody's going to get that close. I don't know if you guys ever mess with these things. They are pretty nasty. I don't really care for black widows. Alright, that ought to be pretty good. I'm going to use the inflate brush and kind of just round these forms out that I've made. And I want it to be pretty much the size of that, so that'll make it easier. Increase the size a little bit. There. They can be a little rough. I mean, their spiders aren't exactly smooth. Alright, so that's kind of the body shape right there. Now, I think what I'll do is go ahead and put the eyes in first. So let's go in here and add some eyes, and I'll be back. Now that these are all set, we can go and validate all these now. Just going to click on these and validate them. Alright, so the eyes are good. Now what we're going to do is come up here and we're going to name the body. And these can all be eyes. Now you can just grab all of these, come up here and add a group. And now you have a group in here now. And we can name these eyes. And you can move them all as one now. Now what we're going to do is add a mirror to this. Add a mirror. We're going to validate it. Now if it's connected like this, you don't want that because that's going to make them all together in one thing. If you want that, that's fine. If you don't, you want to be able to move them separately. Uncheck that and hit yes, and now you'll have, when you open this up, you've got eyes, and it'll be left and right. So if you selected this group, uncheck that and select all of these, now you can move those as one, and you have separate groups. All right, so that's good for all of that, I think. And I must have unchecked something, so I'll just hit validate again. There we go. I tap back somehow. Okay, all right, so that's all good. So let's make the abdomen now, and we're gonna put in a big sphere, and it doesn't really matter which one. And let's just kind of shape this thing. So let's go to the side, squeeze it down just a little bit, stretch it, and they're kind of flat on bottom, you know, flat with a curve. So let's do let's go ahead and subdivide it, and we'll grab the move. Now if you push and hold, it'll lock your view. We're just gonna, if you don't do this, it makes it really hard to move this around much. Your view will be all over the place. It'll be hard to deal with. Unlock it. It's looking pretty good. I need to squeeze the sides in a little bit. Okay, too bad. And then the back, we need to move a little bit. It's just one of those things, just kind of keep tweaking it till you get the shape you want. And these their bodies aren't perfectly smooth. I don't know if you've seen these much, but I used to see these all the time when I lived in Arizona, and they were just nasty. Saw them everywhere. Alright, so that's pretty good. And then just gonna smooth this out a little bit, and get the inflate tool and fix this right here. So I'll be back. I'm just going to form this up a little bit, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. I think that'll be good enough. They're kind of a weird shape, and that's not perfect, but that'll be good enough for this. And I'm gonna add the, let's see, I think it's mostly because we're just covering everything up. There we go. Just gonna do it just like that. They're kind of weird looking spiders, actually. I'll just kind of find good portion. They are very oddly shaped. They're not like regular spiders, really. They're almost like look cartoony themselves, just because the back of them are so much bigger. All right, so next thing, let's add some legs. So they've 4 on each side, obviously, and I think I'm going to put just kind of like a ball on each one to start with and make it a little bit easier. So we're going to go to the body. Now, depending on which one if I go here and add a ball, it's going to add it to the head. So we want to be here, add a sphere. And if we go in, you'll see that it's underneath the body there, which is where you want. Otherwise, if you're in that group, it may put it in the group instead. So we'll leave it there. Alright, I'm going to grab the tube tool and we'll just do a path and just start making some legs. And I'm not going to get too terribly serious about these. We're going to give them a little bit of shape because they're pretty gnarly looking. Looks pretty good. Stretch that in. And make sure to subdivide these, otherwise it'll be a pretty rough shape. Alright, and I'm going to put just a... that'll be pretty good. I'm going to narrow that one down a little bit with Gizmo and just squeeze it just a hair. And you can do that before you validate it too, that's fine. You can use the Gizmo tool on them. Alright, and keep this, pin this open. Alright, so I'm going to start putting these together. So we're going to put this underneath here. I'm going to rename this one leg, just so we kind of keep up with it. Let's see, we'll disconnect it for a second because I want to move this back, get it in the center of that ball joint. So I'm going to shrink. There we go, that'll look a little better. I'm just going to put numbers on these. And these have another little semi-joint on there, but I'm not going to bother with that today, because we're just kind of doing a quick sculpt today. Clone this one, bring it over. We're going to go ahead and just start rotating them a little bit. That looks pretty good right there. All right. Now this one needs to be shorter, a little smaller. Okay, and we'll just name that one 2. Alright, we're going to grab the tube tool again and just do a path and just do one straight down, because this one needs to point. Do all the radiuses. I'm going to give another radius here, give it a little size. Bring that one down. I'll call that good, and subdivide it, validate it. Now I have to see where we're lined up, because we are not lined up yet. All right, now I'm just going to kind of give these a little bit of movement. Let's move this up a little bit, so these will articulate a little bit better, have a little more something going on to cover everything when we articulate them. All right, gives them a little more shape. Now on this one, I think we're going to go bigger. All right, now that we have everything set up, now we're going to come in here and change everything real quick, and it's better to adjust these now. So we've already got the leg named, and remember we need to stair step these. So now when you pivot, everything will pivot properly. The other thing we got an issue with is we need to move our pivot points. So that's the next thing. Hit your pivot and bring it over to the center right there. Click your pivots on each one. Okay, so now when we pivot, it'll pivot at the right point every time, like this. Okay, so when you come in here, that's how you have to have it set up, and you can grab the whole thing and pivot the whole thing. All right, so everything should still be good. The trick to this is make sure that you have these open already tied together before you adjust the pivot points. Otherwise you may have to adjust them again. That's kind of the way it's been. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is just clone these back. So I'll just clone this one. Oops, I need to get the whole thing selected. That would help. So select the whole thing, clone it, and we'll go ahead and, let's see, I guess we'll just do them in order. Could run that one all the way back, but we'll just do them in order. All right, clone it again. Now if you set these where you want them right now, it'll be a whole lot easier in the end because you don't have to mess with them again. Clone it one more time. And those are a little off, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and adjust these, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Alright, so we got a kind of a quick semi-pose. Those will be okay. It's just the ball joint's a little off, but that's alright. So now we're going to mirror these. Now we have each one of the leg setups, and it's leg 1, 2, and 3. So what we can do is grab all of these, and if it's easier for you, you can close all these up. and then grab all the legs. We can come up here and add a mirror. Now you see it's already mirrored for you. Hit validate. Now if this is checked, you're going to join all of these together into one item. So if you want to be able to pose it and articulate it, don't do that. Uncheck that. Hit yes. Now when you open all these up, each leg is going to have a sub leg connected to it. It all does it all automatically for you, so it's pretty nice. All right, so I'm going to put a plate underneath this and pose it, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. So I got that all posed and that looks pretty good, and it's pretty easy to do once you kind of figure out the hierarchy. So this is all set up for you, and just to make your menu easier, you can just close all those down. Alright, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to do a quick basic paint on everything. So I'll just start with a plate and give that maybe a nice red with some metalness. Paint that. That's good. Alright, so then we're going to grab this. I'm going to grab the cylinder and just drag it up out of the way. I'm going to grab all of this and see if we can get it all to paint at once. And they're not like a true like black. They're more like a nasty brown. I'm going to take all the metalness off, but I'm going to leave a little roughness because they're not super smooth either. Kind of just a nasty dark brown, not quite black. Alright, there we go. And for some reason it grabbed my cylinder. I didn't mean to. So uncheck all that and we'll do this again. Didn't mean to grab the cylinder. Kind of a dark red, metalness. Paint all, there we go. That'll be right with the right color light. So let's come up here and increase our exposure. And that's a little too chocolate brown, so uncheck that, select all this. Go a little bit darker. There we go. Now it's going to be mostly black, I guess. Alright. So, kind of keep it goofy. Let's change the eyes. So I'm doing a thing. Grab the eyes. Actually, that one won't matter. I just need here and here. And we'll paint him. It's kind of a crazy metal eyes. There we go. And I think maybe we'll pick this one and do kind of like a little dark purple. Just kind of play around a little bit. Doesn't have to be exactly, you know, we're still kind of staying with the cartoon theme. All right. Now I'm going to turn the plate off and we'll turn him over. And one other thing I'm going to do, depending on how if you decide to put this on the web or not, these things are kind of crab-like on the bottom where they have a little movement in the body. So this inflate tool on regular and click on this one. There. Have just a little bit of shape to the body, just kind of knock this back a little bit. Smooth, and just kind of knock those hard shapes down. That just gives a little bit of shape to the body. Don't have to be too crazy. Alright, so I'm going to pick the abdomen and I'm going to paint the hourglass. The hourglass is actually on the bottom on these things. Let's see here. Oh, I need to change color because that's not the right color, obviously. And maybe not quite so metal. A little more roughness. Looks pretty good. Alright. Increase the size. Go a little more than I want, because then I can grab this color and just trim, clean up the edges a little. There we go. That'll work. A little oversized, yes. There we go. A little better. Alright, and then on the top, they usually have kind of a, not always solid red. I've seen some of them that have a little bit of a really nasty yellow. And we'll go with no metal on this. Increase the size. And they just have kind of patterns on their back sometimes. Let's do that. And then we'll do the red for the top of it. Looks pretty good. And remember, it's going to be a little tiny little thing anyway on the web, probably, depending on what you guys decide to do. Alright, so last thing I want to do is just give it some mouth pincers. And we'll give it a couple sets, like maybe set of looking things and have some fun with it. So let's do that. Let's try that again. Double radius. We can have a little bit more. And come up and subdivide it, validate it. And I'm just going to shrink it down because that's a little bigger than I wanted. Something kind of like that, maybe. Something kind of goofy. Alright, so that one I'm going to mirror. So let's see where I ended up. Okay, it's fine. So we'll just put Fang on there. Alright. I'm going to add a mirror. Validate it. And remember, don't join them. Okay, so we got those. And you know what? I think I'll just leave it right there. That's fine for now. Hey, if you guys enjoyed making this spider with me today, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. All right, thanks.